ago.
Oh, okay.
Well, speaking of coronavirus, which is all we've seemed to be talking about as a society lately, joining me from her quarantine in an undisclosed location in California is your friend and mine, Mrs. Carie Mendoza. Excuse me. How improper of me.
That's all right. That's all right.
How long did it take for you to get used to being called Mrs. Mendoza as a teacher?
Really just like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
But I got married in February.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Of this year. So congratulations.
It kind of yeah, it kind of lasted just like 3 or 4 months, and then it was summertime.
Wow.
And then I came back for the next school year, and there I was.
I remember growing up in elementary school and having teachers who got married mid-year or like beginning of the year or whatever, and all of their classroom equipment would say their previous name. And I mean, no matter how many times the teacher would say something, students would be like, "Who's Miss Sis? Who's this?" And they're just like, "Come on, guys, let's get our heads in the game for 15 seconds."
I do have some things that still say Perkins.
Well, don't confuse your kids then.
I won't. However, usually the first day of school, some parents are confused by receiving a notice that says their teacher is Mrs. Mendoza, and then this is the face that they see.
They're like, we're looking for Mrs. Mendoza. And you're like,
I'm like, it's me.
Hi, it's me. So we were texting a little bit, and I was just trying to get you on here, and you were like, I don't know if I'm going to be a ray of sunshine, which is great. And I appreciate that. So I think the first question I want to ask you is just, how are you doing?
I am okay.
Yeah.
That's a big question.
It is a huge question.
Yeah, no, I'm okay today. Today has been the first day, I think, of coming out of a week and a half of being a little bit of a wackadoo.
Mm-hmm.
I was super bummed and sad at first.
Oh no, you cut out. This is terrible. This has never happened in a quarantine conversation before, where it just completely cut out. You cut out.
Oh.
Okay, you're back.
Like you can't see me?
No, you're back. You said this is the first day I haven't been a wackadoo.
Yes. Yeah, so I was super sad when they shut schools down.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's weird because I didn't think that I was going to be that sad.
Mm-hmm.
But not being with kids was a bummer. And then it was a bummer, I think, thinking about just their safety and are they going to be okay? And then that just kind of turned into anger.
Yeah.
And then that was all of that, I think, on top of that for me, my husband, Mark, is a nurse in the ER at Torrance Memorial. And so there's a lot of stuff going down there. And honestly, in the grand scheme of like hospital things, they see it and stuff's happening, but it's not awful. I think it will continue to get worse, and things are happening, but there's just a lot of anxiety around that, and him working days and days and days, like 10 days in a row.
Crazy. Is he at work right now?
No, he's sleeping right now because he works nights. So
we'll be quiet. We'll be quiet.
Yeah.
So you're a teacher and you're doing all online.
I am.
Our students probably resonate with that a lot, but like you don't teach high schoolers. So
right. I have little first graders. And
do they have like Chromebooks or like how are they getting online stuff?
We have iPads in our classroom. And so just yesterday, kids who did not have access to technology, which was about half of my class, they had a phone, or they had access to a parent phone, but you can't really do work on that. So they got to pick up iPads, like the school gave those out. And so everyone's got their iPad, and they're pretty savvy on the iPad. But it's not the same, like they still need an adult to, be the connector between me and the kids.
Right.
And so once we get underway, I think it'll be fine.
Do you do like FaceTime with them, or like, is there some way to?
Yeah, I Zoom, and then, I made my own YouTube channel. It's called Mrs. Mendoza Teaches. If anybody wants to watch me teach first grade curriculum.
I am the number one fan. I'm going to subscribe right now.
Yeah, it's good times. And so then I make videos and I upload them and I link kids to them and send them things. And that's been a super big learning experience. Yeah. Like that was a lot of my anger too, was that I feel like I'm doing a totally different job. And so my brain is like fried.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to ask. Like, I was talking to Lloyd on the phone a couple minutes ago, and we were talking about how we've been working more than we've ever worked before.
Yes.
From home. And so how have you been handling the work-life balance now that everything is at home?
Not well up until maybe today. The home thing isn't an issue for me. Like I'm an introvert just naturally. So it's not absurd that I would spend a week in my house.
Right.
Like that doesn't bug me. But I think just kind of figuring out a schedule was tricky for me. And then I can get in my head.
Yeah, for sure.
And spend a lot of time in there. Like that's a whole other world in there. And so, just trying to get out of my head.
Yes.
And this is the first day that I feel like, okay, I'm out of my head. I had all the feelings. I don't like to go to feelings. And so when I'm having them, it doesn't feel good. And so then today's the first day where I feel good because I'm not in my feelings. But everybody keeps asking like, or I feel like it's this, like, what are you doing to rest? And what new thing are you going to learn? I'm not learning anything new except how to like do this new job and figure myself out and not be a hot mess.
Yeah. Do you want to see what I learned?
Sure.
What I've been learning. This is real. I did not mean to time it like this, but I'm going to go show you what I've been learning. Hang tight for 5 seconds.
All right. I hope it involves a candle. I hope he's safe. Oh, bread.
I baked this bread from scratch.
Oh, wow.
With all my own yeast and dough and stuff. And so I'm literally just pulling it out of the oven. I'm going to let it cool next to me while we continue this conversation.
I'm proud of you. That's pretty awesome.
I'm real happy. Cool. It's huge. I don't feel like it was supposed to rise that much. Literally, this is bread attempt number 1. But I just like, if we're going to start having to forage for food, then I need to figure out how to make bread. So no, this comes from my obsessive love of Great British Bake Show.
I do not have that obsession.
As I'm holding oven mitts, why not?
I don't enjoy the kitchen. I don't care what people eat for dinner.
You don't want them eating like nails,
it's not a place of solace for me.
You do care what people eat for dinner to a certain extent. You're just like, don't care to make it, or unpack that comment for me. I don't care
to make it. I hope you aren't eating things that are going to cause you to go to the hospital. I would love it if people made healthy choices.
Yeah,
but
same here.
There you go.
So you are not necessarily trying to find new things or develop new things. So how are you spending this? Like, I'm not trying to accuse you, but you said you didn't want to like rest or develop a new hobby. So like, how are you spending this time?
Well, I picked up, well, I don't know if picked up is, I listened to lots of podcasts. So I feel like that time, I listen to podcasts in the car.
Yeah, me too.
Because I don't work close to home, the car is a place for me to be alone and do lots of listening and do lots of thinking. And so that has kind of been taken away from me. And so I've had to figure out ways to carve out time to just absorb information.
Yeah.
Because that is what I like to do. And so I've been listening to,
Carie?
I cannot talk to you right now.
Is that Carie?
That is Isabella.
Okay.
She is just walking through the living room.
We love it.
Yeah. So I have been doing daily audio Bible in the morning.
We love it. Dab.
And in all honesty, like I have like my ups and downs with God. And so this past week, because I was all in my feelings and I was not a happy camper, I don't think I was in the greatest place with him. And so, but I do feel like when that happens and then I make like that concerted effort to like plug back in, he always shows up with like the thing that I needed. And I'm like, gosh, dang it.
I hate when you do that.
Yes.
And I feel like when that happens, I'm a little like, Jacob in the book of Genesis wrestling with God. And I almost don't want him to let me win.
Right.
Or like show me what I need. I do want to be angry or have the tension because I can live in that. But when I live in like the fact that you are who you say you are, and that means I have to change, and I don't like that.
Yes. And just the whole, just doing things in general for me is like a big deal. Like I got to save up my energy. I got to know what I got to do. And so when God is pointing me in a doing direction, I feel like I really want to be clear about what that is. And so for me, that kind of, like when you posed that question last night about peace.
Yeah.
And what does peace look like? We actually talked about it in our little impact discussion. And Annie, she's smart.
We love her.
She says smart things.
Yeah.
She does. She was talking about peace as like a fruit of the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like dug into that today. And so I just got myself into a whole rabbit hole of peace and love. And what does that actually look like? And it actually looks like work.
Wow.
And so just the whole idea of working at resting and true rest versus, I think just stopping and numbing myself.
Right.
Like I numb myself like nobody's business. But I have to really work at, I think,
totally
becoming peaceful and what that looks like for me. And so I've been trying to figure that out. And I think a lot of what I've personally been working on is figuring out who God made me to be and what can my personal impact be versus comparing myself to lots of other people and what they are doing and realizing that, okay, that's not, I'm not that person. I don't have that personality. I cannot do those things that they do. And like, just trying to wrap my head around being comfortable and confident in myself and the gifts that God gave me to just glorify him and learn about him and tell other people about him.
Wow.
And that's tricky business for me.
That's tricky business, but that's profound. And I think that like you probably just named where a lot of students are at or a lot of people are at. They can't really put the words to it, but that was really profound. I think that I hope everybody just takes that and just processes that. The fruits of the Spirit are awesome. I asked Megan a lot of mornings when I remember, I say like, hey, what fruit of the Spirit do we want today? And so that's just like a launching conversation for us in the morning.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's always patience with her for me. So I don't know where that comes from. Classic joke. How has family time been in quarantine?
I think hard. Well, family of 4 is hard because Mark works nights and then he sleeps during the day. And then with the kids doing work, and then Katie also works, like she has her own job. So we're all kind of introverts. Like we all kind of like are in this house doing our own thing. But there's been, like yesterday, I was like, all right, we're all getting in the car and we're just going to drive around. We just drove around and we drove out to Cal State Fullerton and we looked at it and we got some food to go and came home and ate it.
Nice.
And we have to be super intentional about carving out family time.
Yeah. And that's something that I've been hearing from a lot of people as I keep talking to people. Like, it's so easy to just default into like Netflix or video games or solitude or isolation or whatever. And like when you intentionally work against that, you get the fruits of what you think your solitude will get you. Like when I sit down and play Call of Duty, that's just me numbing myself. But what I'm really doing is trying to find community in the people that I'm playing with. So instead of that, I'll actually FaceTime someone or like call someone. And that takes more work and it's more intentional, but I end up getting more out of that than I would the other thing. And that's the same thing with rest. I was talking to Mary Beth and Corey and Emily, and they were saying like, look, you can just zombie out or you can intentionally find ways to rest. And that's what I've really been wanting students to capture, this idea that like, man, you can waste this time. You could waste quarantine. And I don't want to see anybody wasting. This is a cosmic reset.
I'm a good time waster.
Oh, I mean, that's my thing. That is, like, I just baked a loaf of bread. Like that, I mean, time wasting is I have a PhD, but I want to work against that in quarantine. I'm trying to. But speaking of that, the last question I'll ask you, which is the opposite of what we're saying. What's one content, movie, podcast, TV show you've been really enjoying that you want other people to enjoy while they're on quarantine?
I watched, it's a little, it's not that new, but it's on demand. I watched the Mr. Rogers movie.
Okay.
With Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on Mr. Rogers, and I mean, Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks, like whatever.
Coronavirus survivor, Tom Hanks.
Right. I dig Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
And that movie was so good to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I really enjoy music. And I love me some cheesy pop dance songs.
Yeah. What have you been listening to in quarantine?
There's somebody named Becky Hill, and she's got some dance music.
I never heard of her. Becky Hill. We'll make a playlist.
Somebody named Molly Parton.
Dolly Parton, I think you went to say.
No, Molly.
I know, just kidding.
Hello.
Yeah. My friend Adam started a collaborative playlist with me, and it's called "Don't Touch Your Face." I thought that was a funny thing to name. But you should maybe make a playlist on Spotify and share it with some folks.
I will. I can do that.
Do some Dolly Parton and Becky Hill.
Yeah.
What podcasts have you been listening to, if you have time or space to listen to them?
The Naked Babble podcast.
Michael Heiser, the Crash Course That Will Never Happen.
Right. I've done that one. Bible Project. I do some Tim Keller.
Yeah.
I do some Suzanne Stabile.
Okay.
I listen to the Popcast.
Is that about pop music?
It is just about pop culture.
Oh, I love that.
And it is told by a man and a woman, and they are Christians.
Oh.
And they make me giggle.
This should have been my idea. They stole it from me.
Yeah. And it's super cheese, but I love it.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Podcasts are great. And I totally resonate with that. I haven't been driving. I haven't been able to listen to my favorite podcast. So I've just been AirPods in, sitting on the couch, looking like I'm about to kill someone.
I empty the dishwasher.
Oh, that's good. We don't have a dishwasher because we're...
What?
Nope. I'm the dishwasher. These little hands are the dishwasher. It's
wow.
brutal. It's brutal. Well, anyway, I'll let you get back to your lunch break. Thank you so much for calling in. This is huge. I hope everybody enjoys this one, and I hope you enjoy quarantine, and maybe we'll see each other in person again in a couple years when we're all safe and sound. But enjoy the Mr. Rogers show. You're probably going to go on YouTube and watch after you watch that movie.
I have.
Good. All right. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.